Hello, it's Jay here again and welcome to another video. In this lesson we're going to start work on the background. So how this is going to work is rather than have just a plain picture, because this is a 3D version, we're going to use skyboxes. And we're going to be able to have different skyboxes. So you can use any skyboxes you wish. I'm going to use this one, the Deep Space Skybox Pack. It's available free on the Unity Asset Store. You can use any ones you want, but please note that some skyboxes, they cut off at the horizon and they just have a grey box here below. What you want is one that has a full 360 degree. If I just drag this over the scene, you can see how it goes below the horizon all the way round. So just be aware, as long as your skyboxes have that, you'll be fine. Let's come to, and we'll come to the game manager script first. And we'll begin by making a couple of variables, public static bool. So what I'm going to do is have two options. One where the background's chosen randomly, and one where it goes sequentially through the array. So we'll begin by saying underscore random background defines if the player has chosen random background order, and one public static bool underscore, and we're going to have this for we'll call this sequential background. And we'll quickly get this into the comments, so just the same as before, just with sequential rather than background for the comments. And what we're going to do, we're going to put 2 lines of code in the void start. They can go anywhere. I'm just going to put them here. So this is where we're going to set whether these are true or false, but it's only temporary. Obviously, once we come round to creating an options menu, that is where the code for selecting which one you want is going to be put. So please note, this is for testing only. And we'll begin with underscore random background. We're going to say it's equal to true. And I'll just put that we're setting it to equal true on start up. And we'll put sequential background, and I'm setting background random to true first because that's the first one we're going to test. And again, I'll quickly just put this into the comments that were equal false on startup. And obviously, once we come round to doing an options menu, there'll be far more code. So again, you can put the comments in like we did before. This is just something I like to do. It just makes, when we have to look back through our project when it's in a very advanced stage, just easily be able to find the lines that need deleting or moving. So that's all I do. So, you know, please feel free to do this or not, it doesn't really matter. So I'll put for testing only. Code to be moved to options, and let's just save that off. And let's create a new C# script, and we're going to call this Skybox Manager. I'll use an underscore between the words. So let's now open that up for editing. So the first thing we need to do is be able to assign these skyboxes. So public, material, and we want to open and close the square type of brackets. That will create an array which allows us to assign more than one skybox to this singular variable. And we'll give it a naming convention of underscore skyboxes. We'll just close that line off. Into the comments, creates an array to store, and let's put all the skyboxes. And let's in fact, I'm going to make these all public again so you can see them working, but I'm just thinking then, you know, a lot of these can be changed to private. I'll have to do a separate lesson where I update that. So I'm just created a public int naming convention underscore index defines naming convention for the skybox array length, or you could put count if you wish. Count's probably a little bit more accurate, and I'll explain why later. But basically it's to do with the array. In fact, I'll explain it now. When you do an array, the first one's always 0, but the index won't work that way. The first one will be number 1. So I know that may seem awkward to some of you, but it's just the way C# works. So public int, we're going to say underscore, and let's use sequential current value. Let's close that off. Defines the current value within the array for the sequential background. And again, public int, we're going to say underscore sequential max value. Close the line off, defines the max value within the array for the sequential background. And as always, don't worry if you don't understand how these are going to work. These variables I will explain once we actually start to implement those within the coding, rather than just having them defined as variables only. So don't worry about that. We're going to create a couple more, or a few more actually. Public int underscore background button timer max. We're going to set that to equal 1. So this is just for if we didn't have a timer value, it would scroll through the backgrounds far too quickly. We're basically going to have a button where you can switch to the next background or the next random background, depending on which one you've chosen. So defines the max. I'll just put button timer value. And we just need to create an int for background button timer current. Into the comments defines the current timer value. And we're going to create of type public bool underscore set skybox. Close that off into the comments. And we're going to say defines how shall I word this? Defines naming convention for if we have set the skybox on initialize, and that's all the variables we need. So let's come to the void start. What we're going to do is say background a timer current is going to equal 0. So I normally like to set the values in the void start if they are going to be set, if we don't need to change the value, such as in the current we need it to be 0 on startup. It always needs to be 0 in startup, whereas we might tweak this value here. 1 second is more than enough. We may drop that down to ½ second. So in case you're wondering why I've set a value here and put it in the void start for the other value, that's the reason why. Let's say not defined set, and I'll just copy the variable name in to equal 0 on startup. And underscore set skybox is going to equal true. Close the line off. In fact, save. I'm going to change public bool set skybox if we have. Really should be if we need to set the skybox on initialize. So I'll change that there. And in the void start, we'll put set skybox to equal true on startup. And let's just save that off there. Cancel that, sorry. Save all. Let's downsize this, and we're going to come to the manager game object in the hierarchy, and we'll assign the skybox manager script so we can see our variables. The array equals 0, and then we have an empty list below. We're going to set that to 3 because I have 3 skybox, and I'm going to assign each of the skyboxes in the inspector. Make sure you don't drop them onto the scene. So at the minute nothing's going to happen because we haven't implemented any code below. But we will be doing one other thing we need to do for the setting up is we need to come to edit project settings. I'm going to come to the input manager and I'm going to increase this by 1 to 25. And the last one in the list will be duplicate of the previous, which is cancel. So we need to give this a name. I'm going to use background cycle and positive button. Let's just use 0. That will be fine. You can use any button you wish that we're not already using. So you may want this button in your project or not. Now, basically, it's like I said, whether you choose sequential or random, this button is going to allow us to choose the next background. Now, if you don't want this button in your project, that's fine. You can delete the code, but I recommend you do it afterwards because this button will be incredibly useful for testing. So be aware of that. You can get rid of the code for this button if you wish, but keep it in for now. It will make testing so much easier, especially if you make an error somewhere, so please be aware of that. We're going to leave it there for this lesson. We'll pick this up in the very next video. So, as always, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I hope to see you next time. And until then, as always, bye for now.